Okay, a little update. Yesterday I was planning on working out in the shop all day, and things happened and didn't make it out in the shop hardly at all. I did come out and I did take one of the water pumps apart and I powder coated it, and that's about the only thing I got done yesterday. And I polished one up and powder coated one. Now, I can show you I'm here. Get over here and get you a good shot at it. At him. There, right there. And I don't know. And then the powder coated one, I powder coated it. So, and they both pump really good. So, I'm happy with the way they perform. But instead of working on the carburetor set up the way I was planning on, I'm thinking about maybe buttoning up a few things that I haven't really done yet. Like the spark plug holes in the cylinder heads, I left them undersized because I wasn't sure at what thread I was going to put on my spark plug. I wanted something that looked like it belonged, that coarse thread didn't look right. I tried a little finer thread, still didn't look right, and I ended up with I had to order an extra fine tap and die and stuff. So now I'm going to go back and set up and button up tap those holes and get the cylinder heads completely done. And then I was thinking about powder coating them, but I think I'm just going to get some self-etching primer and prime them, and then I'm going to paint them black too. Same thing with the engine block. I was thinking about powder coating that, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to get some self-etching primer and prime them up and paint them black. So that's where I'm at right now. I will be back. I'm going to set up the mill. I'll record some of that. While I was setting up, I had to start up one of my fans, my Stirling fans, and run it a little bit. Gotta get a little bit of playing in, too. It hadn't been running for a while, and I kind of like to run them every once in a while to make sure that everything stays nice and free and give them a good cleaning. Okay, what I'm going to use for doing those spark plug holes is it's kind of like a multiple fixture that I used. I used it for all the setups on the cylinder heads on this side, and on this side I have all the rockers that I did. But to set this up in the right orientation for the spark plug holes, I have an angle. I have an angle here. So I just set it in the vise, and then I have two spots here. I just set it on dowel pins. I just set it on dowel pins so that it actually sets in the right orientation in the vise. Let's see if I can kinda show you. I think I'm gonna have to bring it over here closer. Try to get you a downward shot, maybe the end. Yeah, kind of moving you around here. Wanted to try to get you in a shot where you can kind of see what's going on. All right, so I want to set up and do the spark plug holes. And cylinder heads, they fit on these two locating pins. They fit in two holes that I actually held the position real close so that they're actually tooling holes for myself. And I just put it in there, like, on the pins, and that locates it. So I need to get it on get it in the vise and get it set at the right. And what I do is I just take a couple dowels, a couple 1/4 inch dowels, and what they're going to do is they're going to sit in these little angled flats that I have here. So I just put one back there on the back and one in the front. And put that in there. And it should kind of, you can feel it when it kind of finds home. And tighten it up. Okay, that should be set at the right angle. And I'll double check it though before I go ahead and start doing anything. And get the indicator. Plus I have an index hole right here that's in line with that first spark plug hole, a 1/2 inch over. So I just dial that in, move over 1/2 inch, and I'll be set to go right down the line of the spark plug hole, set of the spark plug holes. Let's check to see if the angle's right first. I don't know if any of you are aware, or how many of you are aware, that when you're using a dial indicator, that the angle of that to the swivel point of the needle should be about 5 degrees. If you don't set it at that, the dial really doesn't show you. If it says 1 thou, it doesn't mean that it's 1 thou, because you've changed the distance. So it's just a tidbit that, okay, 0 there, and over here. Okay, well, I am about 1/1000 high on this side, which really, it's close enough for, well, I will give her a tap. Okay, see what we got now. 0. Yeah, now we're the other way. No, we're still the right way. We're still gonna go down just a little bit. Okay. And 0. Them flats just get you close, you know, get you really close. There, now I'm under a 1/2 thou from being right on. So now I will go over and dial in my index hole, which is in line with the first spark plug hole, 500 thousandths on X over. So what I need to do is dial that in and move over 500 thou, and I'll be centered over the first spark plug hole. This fixture's come in handy. I mean, I've used it for rocker arms and the cylinder heads. Almost every setup on the cylinder heads that I did, it was on this fixture. Just kind of centering my needle to the middle so I can get close. Okay, there. That way just a little bit, that way just a little bit. All right, now set the needle up against. Zero there. And we're not touching over here. Nope, not touching, so. Okay. You're back on 0. Okay, so it's gotta come out. Bottom of the indicator out the other way. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of patience and eventually get there. You know, 0. Alright, now we're 8 thousandths high. Around 4. 0. 0 on X. And okay, 0, 0, and 0. And the back will be 0 also. Now, what I want to do is move over exactly 500 thousandths. So I got a travel indicator set down here, since I don't have a readout. So I just use a travel indicator. Either a travel indicator or set my dials, and I haven't taken the time to set the dials to 0 on my machine, so. And we're gonna go that way. Okay, and then we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we should be centered right over the spark plug hole. And I will put one of the cylinder heads on, and we will check it. Make sure. Oops, wrong leg. Okay, and I'll put a couple of screws in to hold it in place. And what did I do with my Allen wrench? I had an Allen wrench out here for it. Had everything lined up. Naturally. You know, I swear my short-term memory is taking a beating. Ah, here it is. Laid it over on the surface plate. Okay. Let's see here. I had wondered. I don't know if these are the right screws for this. Might be a little too long. Where I laid them. Well, that one tightened up. I've seen it pull the head up anyway. There we go. She's solid now. So, now just for precautionary, I will double check, make sure that spark plug hole is centered below the spindle. There we go. Okay. Looks like my index hole might be off a couple thou. And right there, either, well, I wasn't over by the dial to bump it. You know, I've had that happen before. I have something dialed in and then not knowing, bump the dial, the handle, and move it. You know. Okay, so there we are, above the hole, and now it's just a matter of running the right size drill through and then tapping the hole. So I'll get the right size drill and the tap and everything, and I'll be back. Okay. The drill diameter for 848, that's the tap that I'm going to be using, and is best of my calculation 144, or pretty close to that, 143 something. So number 27 drill, and naturally I had to go sharpen it first. I don't know why I put tools away that are dull. But anyway, I'm all set up and I should be ready to drill and tap a hole here. And we're centered over the first one yet. Taken. Like I said, I drilled them already, but they were undersized because I didn't know what tap I was actually going to use. Okay, now I have a spring tap guide here, spring-loaded tap guide. Put that in the truck, and it's basically it's a spring-loaded, keeps the tap on center. And if I have never mentioned it before, I'm a firm believer in Molly D for tapping. I'll tell you. This year I really wouldn't need it. I could use regular oil, but for small holes, that stuff, and in stainless too, oh boy, the stuff is just amazing. Okay, number 1. If I was brave, I'd power tap it, but I'm not that brave. I don't want to wreck something at this stage. So I will hand tap it. I take that little extra time. Okay. I'll be getting close here. Come on. There we go. Yeah, I'll give that a little bit of a blow, and then I'll grab one of the plugs. Whoops. Air hose around the leg of the tripod. That's not good. Are you still in? Yeah, you're still in focus. All right, I'm going to get a plug, one of the plugs, just to turn it in, make sure that everything is A-OK. Got them all in this little box. I'll get one with a washer on it. There we go. And beautiful. That is exactly what I want. So I need to crank over down the line 1 inch. I believe it was 1 inch 15 or 16 thousandths. I will look on my drawing to make sure, but 1 thou plus or minus either way isn't gonna really hurt. And it is, yep, 1 inch 16. 1 inch 16, so I will take travel indicator down here now. I got X locked off, so, and I want to just barely touch so I can go 1 inch 16. Try to get the plunger of the travel indicator parallel to the y-axis gib down here. Let's see, there we go. Right here. You just want to make sure that that is parallel to the side or perpendicular to the X, because if you don't, you're going to lose. No matter what that dial says, it's not going to be right, because you're going to be measuring a hypotenuse of an angle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 16. We're ready for the next hole. And this is the one of the last things to do on these heads, so I say I don't want to mess them up now. I mean, I had all the little holes tapped, everything. I got pretty lucky. I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't broken one of those odd 80 taps yet. I noticed when I was doing the water pumps that they're starting to get a little dull, so I may just order a couple new ones and chuck one, because I'd rather chuck it away than break it off into something that I have several hours invested in. It's not worth saving that extra $4 or $5 and throw away 4 or 5 hours worth of work. It's just not right. So okay, this tap, I special ordered it from Travers, I think it was. This is where I ordered it. I ordered the tap and the die both. Okay. So, that's number 2. And reset my indicator again. And go 1 inch and 16 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 16. Probably just a boring video here now. It's just the same thing repeated here. And basically just hand tapping. To figure out the tap drill size, I took 77% of the thread depth, which now I can't remember what it was, and subtracted that from the major diameter. That's how I came up with the book. I've looked in my machinist handbook to find out what the thread height of 48 thread pitch was, and calculated it from there. And the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and 16. And once I get to the back, I'll just put the next head on and go right back down the line, and do all 4 heads that way. And that way they are done. And I'm gonna get some self-etching primer and prime them up and paint them. I don't, some people are going, oh, you paint stuff, you're covering up mistake. Well, you don't see the big motors without paint on them, and I kind of like them to look like. Actually, I'd like to go find. I believe it's orange. The new Chevy engine colors, or not sure, but it'd be nice to paint them exactly the same color too. So I don't know. That's just personal preference, I guess. That's like the water pump. My wife come out and looked at him and goes, "Well, what'd you paint it black for? I like that shiny one." So that's why I kind of left one polished and one. She's she's kind of a motorhead. Most women, they're not into motors and stuff, and she is. She's very into it, so could tell you lots of stories about that. Okay, that's the last one. So I will continue on, and we'll come back when I'm done. And I don't know if I'm going to go get paint today or not. If I get them all done, go get paint, and I start priming them all, I will show you what they look like after they're primed up. And once I get these done, then maybe I'll go back to my original plan of working on the carburetor setup, so I can get that done. I'm just trying to button up little things here and there before I start final assembly. I did get head gasket material. I was going to cut it on NC mill with a high-speed spindle attached to it. I really haven't tested that spindle out yet. What I did was made a bracket for the NC, and I can mount my Dremel tool in there and kick that up to, I think it's 15,000 RPM, and then not even run the NC spindle, just use the Dremel tool, come down and do the milling. But I haven't done a lot of milling with it yet, or testing it, so I don't know if I want to put that material down and test it or not. I don't want to have to go and order it again. The story there is, I ordered that material from McMaster's, a sheet of, I think it's 6 inches wide, 1 foot long, and then I ordered brass, and all of it could have came in a bubble wrap envelope, what I had ordered, and they sent it in this humongous box, and the total bill for the materials that I ordered was $60, and the shipping was $30. I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, why did you send it in this big box? Why didn't you just put it in a little box, or a little? It could have, like I said, it could have came in a bubble wrap envelope, but I don't know. I don't understand their process. So anyway, I will come back when I have more to report. Okay, I got all 16 spark plug holes drilled or tapped and done. So there, they are done, and I didn't have had no major surprises anywhere. So it looks like that for this fixture, I'm pretty much all done with it. So I guess I can put that on the shelf. And I kind of hang on to my fixtures and stuff. I don't know why, because I probably will never ever go back and use it again. But I have it in case I want to go back and actually use it again for, because I got index holes for every operation. I have it written down in the book at you know, what the distance over is, you know, and then plus I save for this, like these rocker arms and stuff. And everything I've done NC, I've saved all the programs and stuff. So if I want to go back, I could square up a block and get another cylinder head made in a pretty short time, because I have all the tools and everything that I need at hand. So in case I mess one up, and I'm hoping I don't, but you never know. Oh, I should mention, I had second thoughts about priming the cylinder heads and putting any paint on them. I am going to do the engine block yet, though. I do want to paint that, and the oil pan. And actually, I might go back and redo the oil pan. I want it to look a little different. Let's see if I can show you what I'm talking about. I don't have one just laying here. I have my plastic one here that I did a lot of work, you know, before I did it in metal. I did it in PCV or plastic plexiglass. And what I did was I welded the plexiglass together to get the right thickness, and then just kind of made a test piece. But anyway, the oil pan in the drawing, or in the plans, is just a flat bottom oil pan. And I'm thinking about going back, and I'm not going to redo the whole oil pan. I'm just going to make a fake sump area. So, and what I'll do is I will put it on there, and I'll take weld it and weld the sump onto it to make it look like it has an oil sump. You know, I'm not crazy about just having a flat. It's just, like I say, it's just personal preference and how much you want to put into it. Okay, checking the heads over just to make sure everything was done. I found one. I forgot to tap the exhaust manifold holes. The other three are done. This one isn't. So I figured, well, I'll show you how I tap small holes and what I use for a tap handle. Basically, what I use for a tap handle is this little knurled, it's like a little thumb wheel. It's not very big, and the tap just fits in it, and you tighten it up, and that's my little tap handle. And I use just a block, and what it is it has all the tap diameter, body diameter holes going through it, perpendicular to the two surfaces. So what I do is put my tap through there, and that's going to hold my tap perfectly perpendicular to the hole, or actually parallel to the hole that I'm going to be tapping. So take, you know, zoom in here and kind of show you what I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay, and what I have here is still not in the picture. There we go. And we have these holes that aren't tapped, and I just got the tap in the block and line it up with a hole, and I put it on that surface, and I just hold it in place with my thumb. And I just go ahead and use the little knob, crank her down in carefully. The odd 81, I have the handle is a little smaller in diameter, so I can actually feel it a little bit better. And I can feel when it starts to bind up, or if it binds up, or if the tap's getting dull. Okay, there's my depth, and I just back it back out. There's one hole done. And in between, I make sure I just run my thumb across it and fingers across it to get the chips off. And give it a little douse of Molly D again. Yeah, I go back and line it with a hole. Push it down with my thumb and hold it. As long as you hold that block on there tight with your thumb, it'll keep that tap perpendicular to that surface and in line with that hole. And it works extremely well. I used this same process in a shop where I worked for many years. Matter of fact, I probably made this probably 25 years ago or more, 30 years ago. It served me well through all the years. It's not saying that you're not going to break a tap out with using this, because you still break taps. I mean, you get in a hurry and and not pay attention and slip and you end up with a broken tap. As long as you hold it perpendicular on there, you have a pretty good shot at, because you can feel the tap when she starts to get dull. And you start to realize, or you start to know when you should start thinking about changing the tap. So these are 256. In case you're wondering what size it is, it's a 256 thread that I'm putting in here for the exhaust manifolds, exhaust pipes, or I'm not going to mill out a manifold. I don't know if I'm going to just put zoomy pipes on or actually go through the process of bending and making a header for it. Let's see, let's go turn this around so I can get closer to that shoulder. I left off on that one. Okay, so got 3 holes left. Two holes left. Like I say, it works pretty good. I mean, when I was drilling these holes, I did them on NC, and there was no way that I was going to run that little tap in there on my NC. So otherwise, if I would have been doing this on a vertical mill, I'd have tapped them at the same time as I drilled them. Then I wouldn't have to use this setup, but same thing as what I just got done with the spark plugs. But I still use this over on the mill. What I do is I take the knurled knob, put it down a little bit further, and then put the drill chuck over it so it holds it centered. So it's, that way you know. Okay, one left. The cat's howling again. He wants his supper. Supposed to catch the mice. He'd rather have supper. Anyway. Okay. Ta-da! Now they're all done. So now I will decide what I'm going to do next. Okay, I just set up the camera pointing at my CAD model here. I just thought maybe you'd like to kind of see what it looks like modeled up, but that's going to be my a little bit of, it's not much of a riser, just more or less an adapter plate. And that's only because I hosed up on the intake manifold. I cut the area down below kind of small, so the carburetor really wouldn't fit on it, so I made a little adapter plate. Was going to make it a little taller and make it look like a high rise, but I didn't. Oh yeah, that's basically that's it. So I'll end up, I'm going to make that piece, I think, next. That little riser plate here. Yeah. So what it'll do is it'll bolt down on my manifold, and then the carburetor will mount to it. So that's it anyway.